Good morning, everybody. So what I'm going to talk about this morning in the next 25 minutes is the way as designers working in a corporation we have been trying to position design as a driver for growth and innovation inside a multinational corporation, technology-driven, and how the corporation now is leveraging design in an outstanding way, and where we are in this journey of design inside the culture of our company and where we're going for the future. There is, first of all, a new social scenario that is evolving. We live in a society that's completely different than just 5 years ago or 10 years ago because of internet, worldwide market, the social networking that is amplifying and filtering information available in the market and promoting a circulation of this information both in your private life as well as in your business life in ways that we didn't experience just 5 years ago. So the society is changing completely, and this society is creating consumers that are more and more expert, they are savvy, they are demanding, very often they are very spoiled. They're very difficult to categorize. We have 4 different generations, Gen Y, Gen X, baby boomers and traditionalists, overlapping inside the same corporation, inside the same society. They don't talk with each other. They have a very hard time to understand each other. And for us as business people or designers, it's very difficult to categorize them using the typical methodology of segmentation that we used in the past. The scenario is completely changing. Consumers are in quest of holistic experiences. They search the meaning in the experience that they have. And we're moving more and more from producing new products, new services, new brands based on tasks to producing all of those based on experiences. We're moving from physical needs to cognitive needs to emotional needs. In the conversation I had with the business community at 3M, it was very important to define what is a brand experience and how to link it to the brand equity. The brand equity is the totality of the experience that you take in consideration before making any kind of purchase decision. Is linked and is creating value, is creating both perceived value and economical value. And if that's the case, what is the experience then? Well, it's all the cognition, the feeling, the behavioral responses that are evoked by brand-related stimuli. And we'll see in a second what is a brand-related stimuli. So many times we focus on the utilitarian product attributes, what the product does, and we have all the bullet points on the packaging, and we always talk about that. And we forget the brand-related stimuli. What are the brand-related stimuli? Let's look at this. The brand identity, the shapes, the typefaces, the mascot, the photography. Everything is visual. The brand-related stimuli evoke those sensations that create the brand experience, that build the brand equity, that add perceived value and economic value. And where do you find that? You find in any brand touch point. So the product, the packaging, store and planogram, web advertising, PR, people, so dress code, the way they talk, the way they interact with your customers, so the sales organization, the communication organization, the facilities, the way your company looks. So everything of every brand touch point is delivering this message. If one of these elements is not delivering the same consistent story, then all the system crash down. And so it's not about, I want to embrace design. Tomorrow I go to a designer, I design one product, and then the rest of the portfolio is crap. It's about the full portfolio. It's about the full system of communication, packaging, collaterals, and so on and so forth. Many times I talk at 3M at, not the marketing community, not the business leader, the CEO. I talk about entry-level employees that can touch just few brand touch point. And so we go from macro system all the way to very tactical things like photography. This is a picture of an adhesive strip in the past called Command. And this is Command today. This is a Command in the packaging in the past. This is Command in use today. This is a lamp, $10 lamp that we designed for China, the Chinese market. Look how sad is the lamp. And look now how happy. Through photography, it's not more expensive, it's about different art direction. And look, and she's so happy that she finds friends, and she can dance with her friends. It's the same cheap, low-cost lamp. But look about, how through photography we can really elevate the experience. Talking about what we do, talking about our innovation machine inside the company, not keeping it inside, but starting to create a story around that so that we position the brand and the company as an innovation company. To see sexy, the word sexy, combined with 3M in the past was almost impossible. And today we see sexy, cool, genius, this kind of adjective used for our company because we are telling the story. Without investing too much money, we have been redesigning the full design center, a location that is really the evidence of the different approach to design, that is a collaborative space for all the functions, not just the designers, to create innovation experience-driven, and then obviously to attract and engage the design talents. And we did it in the US, we did it in Milan, this is Shanghai, this is the US again. So every brand touch point, all the brand touch points we listed before, they need to work together to create that kind of consistent story for our target audiences: users, consumers, customers, analysts and shareholders, media, opinion leaders, and employees. And there are stories slightly different for each of them, but the concrete, the core story is the same one. The condition to make it happen, well, executing great design is not just about designers. We have 60 people out of 75,000 people in the company, so it's not about us. It's about the rest of the company. It's about all together. So we want to design products, form and function, packaging and brand design, merchandising, communication and PR. This is what we call the design system that create that kind of relevant experience and brand love. For that, you need a design strategy. That is a business strategy leveraging design. You need a design team, ideally in-house if possible, working with marketing and R&D together to create that design strategy. You want to do it for the end users, for the consumer, and for the customers. And therefore, you need your key account and sales organization to be able to convey the message, be aware of the message, and be able to talk about that. The e-business to have, to create the same kind of experience online. And then your communication and PR team, being able to communicate that in the most efficient way to that target audience, and by the way, to opinion leaders and media. You need HR. We need HR to identify those leaders in marketing, in R&D, that are design sensitive, that have design background, that can leverage design in the best way. We need manufacturing and sourcing be able to embrace it. And in the past, they were our major roadblocks. Today, they just, they love what we're doing. They will try to make it feasible and manufacture at the right price, in the right timing, in the best possible way. And finally, finance and legal embracing that kind of approach. The bottom part is the condition to make it happen. The top part is the condition to take it to market.
If building business advantage through design requires design to be at the executive level, so you'll take, that design thinking thing that you're talking about, how do you get those rational economic thinkers to put it at the decision-making level?
Well, there are two potential scenarios. One is that the CEO get it, and is the famous case of Procter & Gamble or Samsung. So they decide that from night to day, they're going to drive it, and they are the one driving the rest of the executive team in this journey. But in the 95% of the cases, this is not the case. And what I think we need to do as designers inside those companies, working for those companies, first of all, is to bring in a completely different, disruptive, innovative way of thinking. That is the design thinking approach. We need to do that, but that is going to somehow scare the system. And we need to find a way to identify inside the company those, what I call the co-conspirators that can partner with you, usually coming from the business community, the R&D community. And together you can try to create best practices, innovative approach to brand design, product design, innovation in general, by leveraging design thinking. Something that has been extremely important for us inside 3M has been the endorsement that external parties gave us. First of all, external design firm. They were eventually very successful with other brands, with other firms, and that we called in to work on projects with a very pragmatic approach, but in the meantime, to endorse the design message that we were trying to deliver to shape the culture of innovation of 3M, evolving towards an innovation design-driven, experience-driven approach. And beyond that, the biggest endorsement has been the one of the customers. So having customers that somehow are design sensitive and are endorsing what you are trying to do inside the company have been extremely, extremely important. Another extremely important thing to do is to try to integrate what your new approach, your new design-driven kind of approach with the processes of the company, the mindset of the company, in order to enable the company itself to leverage design thinking in the best way to deliver value for the corporation, therefore growth or a new approach to innovation. That's extremely important because you can bring in something that is extremely useful, extremely important, but if the company has no clue of how to leverage it in the best way using the existing processes and mindset of people inside the company, it's going to be very, very tough for the company to leverage what you do. In general, I think we are very lucky because we have the ability to do storytelling, to use and leverage design tools like prototyping, videos, mood boards, any kind of visual technique to share our stories and to create awareness very rapidly and very intuitively about the value that we can create in the company through those kind of tools. And this is something that we have as design community want to leverage, and it can help us big time.
So you use those kind of tools and it's sort of creating mood and emotion and things with everybody across the function?
Yeah, so bringing in the executives and try to have them experiencing during the process of development through storytelling, by prototyping those experiences we want to design, experiencing during the process what could be the solution, how we could create value for our users, consumer, customers at the end of that journey, of that process of innovation.
And so, Dani, you're coming from the outside, not sort of inside
Sure.
the company. Do you think that's the same thing? Like, is that how you do it also?
Yeah, we just finished working on a study that IBM sponsored. It was the CMO study, which really looked at what demands were being placed on CMOs, what are their challenges and opportunities. And I think what's interesting, especially it's come to light during the economic downturn, is CMOs are really looked at now as revenue generation centers within they own and manage and have the greatest access to helping companies capitalize on revenue through how they position products, how they bring them to market, how internally they create value to create and differentiation when they bring products and services to the market. And I think designers by nature are systems thinkers, and they're interpreters, and they help define whether it's a corporate narrative or a story behind a product that makes it distinctive. And CMOs traditionally had worked with disparate agencies, ones that did advertising, ones that did PR, ones that did product development, ones that did innovation, and now they're looking at coordinating those activities. They have no choice but to really coordinate those activities, because the ultimate means for managing your brand is sort of leveraging all those mediums and those partners. Designers can sit at the center of that, and I think great corporations, 3M included, are understanding that designers can help connect the dots, not just interpret how the brand communicates or how a package works or what a product looks like. So that glue, that interpretation, that systems thinking is really at the heart of what I believe the next generation of design and designers can embrace. And I think you're beginning to see companies, and I've had the good fortune to work with Procter & Gamble and IBM and Nike, the companies that really are beginning to put designers at the center of that, making them the arbiters. And really, leadership is embracing innovation as well. And I think the great companies that have proven innovation, not just through process, but through outcomes, building shareholder value, bringing products to market faster, understanding the value of unique and distinctive experiences with consumers. Those are the companies that have been, like 3M, using design as a bigger engine for growth versus something that is hired out as a service, so to speak.
So that requires the designer, when you were talking about the idea of being able to integrate it within the existing systems, so having some kind of compromise on that level, which requires being able to articulate the business function as well as the creative or innovative function.
Yeah, I think it's extremely important to train designers nowadays on the ability to be polyglots and being able to talk a variety of different languages on the basis of the different functions you are interacting with. If our nature is the one of being this interpreter and catalyst of this reaction that is and this process that is a multidisciplinary process, it's so important for us to be able to talk all the different languages in order to deliver, to articulate the value that we bring to those different functions in the most powerful and intuitive way. And to do that, we need to somehow be exposed to the world and understand the way they think first, what kind of goals they have, how they can obtain them, what are the roadblocks that they have, and therefore help them through design to achieve their goals in their function first. And to articulate our message, we need to understand what is the language that they understand in order to make our message accessible to them. Because at the end of the day, either each function of a corporation embrace what we're doing and is engaged in this process, or we won't be able to really do what we're supposed to do as designers inside companies.
Yeah, and I think to that point as well, user-centered is a phrase now that is actually more real, evident, and needed, maybe more than ever. So if you think of the way a consumer buys a product now versus the way they used to, there's all these sort of non-linear paths to purchase. And what we have at our fingertips now is not just research, and you need research, quantitative and qualitative, but you also have data now because consumers are buying things differently, and for a large part they're doing it through technologies. So you're able to understand how a customer is, the patterns, the emotions, the times to which they buy. And if you look at those nonlinear paths, a designer's job now is to activate and connect that path. It's not just about hiring a designer to create a retail experience or a package that gets put at the end of the purchase cycle. They're now seen as we can help telegraph the emotional and rational experiences along that path to purchase. And again, that's fairly new language to designers who either got involved at the very beginning on an identity basis, or at the very end on, oh, we have this product, now it needs to be packaged and put on a shelf. We now have a place at the table along that path, and we can help guide it, be real architects of the consumer experience. And I think design thinking and design, if the two of those are married, those are the perfect capabilities to navigate and create value along that cycle.
And it's so important to have an holistic approach to the creation of this experience. It's so important that every brand touch point in that experience deliver the same consistent kind of message, and because that's what makes that message and that experience authentic, and people search authentic experiences with brands nowadays. This is what Apple was able to do in a phenomenal way, creating authenticity in the equity of the brand in any brand touch point. So from the experience you have in a store to the experience you have online, or being part of the community of iTunes and purchasing products, services, anything was consistent and delivering that message of authenticity. Steve Jobs' dream of creating products that would improve society and gifting new solutions, new technologies, new experiences to people, to the world, is something that was true in anything, even in the way they designed the factory. So it's so important to have that kind of approach, and to do that, you need an internal art direction, and designers are trained to have that kind of art direction of the brand.
So you see that the design is different from design thinking?
Oh yeah, big time. Design is really, a designer is the one that designs a product or a brand or a service that is going to be manufactured in series and produced in small or big quantities. A designer is able to balance emotion and rationality, both in the process as well as in the output, in the solution, in the best way. And the designer can be not process-oriented at all and be, a genius, he get it. I met many designers like this that just get what the society and people want. Design thinkers are something else. They, first of all, have a vision. In the best case scenario, they have a dream, and they try to rebuild in an analytical way. They are able to rebuild in an analytical way, step by step, the path to reach that vision, and eventually steer the direction on the base of the roadblocks or the opportunity they find on their way. Design thinkers, I usually say, they don't care, they don't give a heck about customer satisfaction. They're in love with their customers, and the difference between satisfaction and love is that when you want to satisfy somebody, you do everything is possible to fulfill a specific need of that individual. But when you love somebody, could be your wife, your husband, your kid, your mom, you try to do more. It's the magic, it's the unexpected, it's the surprise. And this is what is really, what I think is really the characteristic of the design thinker and differentiate the design thinker from anybody else, is that the magic is a must in the creation of that experience. You want to create that kind of unexpected experience for people. And you won't have manufacturability reason, timing reason, resources on the way that will stop you from achieving that specific goal. Design thinkers are polyglot by definition. They're able to speak different kind of languages of the different functions because they realize that both the process to reach innovation and then the solution itself need to be holistic, and therefore you need a multidisciplinary approach. You need people to be able to talk different languages during the process to deliver that kind of innovation. And they are perfectly fine in moving from one field to the other, from manufacturing to anthropology, to marketing, to legal, to all the different disciplines. And because that's the very nature of these thinkers. They strive in the ambiguity, in the complexity. They are able to manage complexity in the best way.